The king of pop, Michael Jackson. He's up next. Let's talk. What's up, everybody? How you doing? Welcome back over here to my channel, Peppy's Point of View, and I am your host, your R&B historian, Peppy. All right, thank you for tuning in and welcome, new viewers, you returning viewers, and you subscribers. Thank you guys so much for checking me out over here. I really truly do appreciate the love and the support. One more time, thank you. Hey, we're talking about the king of pop, Michael Jackson. For the month of September, I am covering R&B crooners, Soulman, the fathers, all right? And we're discussing Michael Jackson for this particular episode over here. Whew. I tell you, I really wish we could say get Michael Jackson on the phone, but I can't say get Michael Jackson on the phone. But what I can do is I can say, you know what, get his cheering. That's right, I said it just like I said it. Get them cheering on the phone. Who is it? Paris? I know Paris is one of them. See, now y'all got me over here and trying to get already into the information about Michael Jackson, so on and so forth. But I do know one of them is Paris. And how many does he have? He has about three. Let me see if I can find it real quick. I'm sorry. I feel like I'm in church. Oh, gosh, I don't believe I said that. But, when you're in church and all of a sudden, the pastor gets up and he starts to call out names. And then he's like, all right, well, hey, listen, there I go now to start calling out names. Now I got to call out this person's name and so on and so forth. And then I done mentioned Paris's name. And now I got to find these other kids. Blanket. One of them is called Blanket, right? Is that Blanket's real name? But let's get these children on the phone and let them know we're talking about their father, Michael Jackson, over here. But I can't find out those kids' names for nothing in the world. But it's three of them, right? Isn't three of them? Three, don't he have? Hold on. See, now I got to get started. Michael Jackson's. Let me see. I'm sorry. Hey, it's just what it is. You got to go with the flow. Prince, Paris, and Blanket, right? Is that it? That's their names. Three of them, right? Prince, Paris, and Blanket. I think I'm right. I hope I'm right. I don't know. But anyway. All right. Get them on the phone. Hey, get some of the Jacksons on the phone. Let them know we're talking about the brother. Get Catherine, whoever, get them on the phone. Okay, let me focus. Now, for those of you who are new to my channel over here, what do I do? Okay. Well, first of all, I know that I need to do an introduction for the crooners, for my Soulman. If I'm going to start covering Soulman, I know I need to get an introduction for them as well instead of the R&B Divas introduction. I do know that. I'm going to get around to doing that. So that's number one. Well, what I do is pretty much music reviews, right? So I cover music from probably like 1980 to 1997. Those are the years I feel comfortable in where I can actually just sit and listen to the music. Then what I also do is I mainly cover R&B divas, but every now and then I dive into like what I'm doing right now, Soulman. I will discuss them, but for the most part, I cover R&B divas, and every now and then I do a little bit of entertainment news, just like the video I uploaded about Salt and Pepper and DJ Fenderalla, and she's finally, is getting her bag, her money, her coins, or whatever you want to call it. She's finally getting that, after they had a meeting of the minds and decided that they were having contract betwixt. Yeah, betwixt them. I was like, what? She finally got a contract. Child, I know. So I do music reviews, and then I just tell you what I think about the music, and we have a conversation based off that, right? It's not a monologue, it's a dialogue. I really would like for you guys to participate with me because I know you listen to the music. You understand what I'm saying? I know you're watching. It's like, I don't know what this is all about. I just don't know. I feel like I'm in a class sometimes, but I'm okay because I love what I do. That's why you have to love what you do. You understand what I'm saying? You do, It's like for real. I enjoy what I do, but sometimes you feel like you're in the class and you're like, baby, I know I'm a good teacher. You know what I'm saying? I know what I'm talking about. And you guys sitting there, and I know you probably saying, oh, I need some bells and I need some whistles. I need some gossip. I need you to get down with the dirt and this, that, and the other. And I want to know who did this to who, what, when, where, why, and how. See, that's the problem. That's the problem. You want to know too much about people's business. You know what I'm saying? You understand what I'm saying? That's the problem. Like if I was over here and I was, I don't know, probably saying something negative about somebody, so on and so forth, you'd have been shared it and did all kinds of stuff with it. It would have really went viral, You know what I'm saying? And then you sitting up there with your popcorn, you grab your popcorn and your Coca-Cola. Yeah, your Coca-Cola. Let me change that. But well, some of y'all probably. But anyway, you'd have been grabbed and you're sitting around here sharing it and laughing like woo, 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 and making all kinds of comments, so on and so forth. Honey, y'all make me tired, and you ain't gonna make me tired. Got time for that. But anyway. Thank you. See, my God is good. My God is good. Let me tell you what just came into me. That's a perfect segue to talking about Michael Jackson and controversy. Thank you. See, I love when things just happen so spontaneously. Yes. But, Michael Jackson, he is a controversial artist, or he was. You can still say he is. And for those of you who are not familiar with Michael Jackson from when he started all the way up to now, see me, I'm familiar with, Michael Jackson when, I could say started with like Rock With You. You know what I'm saying? Like the Wall to Wall album. Speaking of albums, I have Michael Jackson's History, Greatest Hits History album. Yeah, the history. So, yeah, I know I'm all over the place, but you see, I have this album or CD. But most people have said for the most part that Michael Jackson started a lot of that controversy on his own. It was him and his team, with stuff such as like Wacko Jacko. He was sleeping in an oxygen tank, well, it did already come out, that he had plastic surgery, but, people were watching Michael Jackson transform right before our very eyes. You know what I'm saying? Oh, Lord, see, there I go talking to y'all, making me tired. This stuff is alleged. It's alleged. It's alleged. But you watch him transform right before your eyes, and this is just me talking now. I'm talking. I remember being in the office one day, and this place that I worked, I shared an office with another counselor, and I remember her saying, and I looked at her, I'm like, "What are you talking about?" She was talking about Bruce Jenner, right? And she was like, "He is definitely going. He's transitioning right before our very eyes." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And so. And then all of a sudden, Bruce Jenner is now, who he is. And so it's the same thing with Michael Jackson. It's like, you're watching this transformation taking place. It's kind of like, huh? Like, what? Michael Jackson. And it was slow. It was very gradual. And by the time he showed up again, it was like, just really and truly added to his mystique, his persona, it made him more mysterious, you know. But the difference between, I guess, what I'm not comparing him to Bruce at all, but what I'm saying is that even though we saw him transform right before our very own eyes, the music was so good. The things he talked about was controversial to the point where I don't know if people really cared. It was more like, what? It made us want to know what is going on. Like, what's going on over there in Never Never Land? Well, I said Never Never Land, but I think it was Neverland. But still, you know, we just like, what's going on? Like, huh? Like, what? You know, it's like things to make you go, Like, okay, the music. And then also, too, and this is not where I'm going, but I'm going to let it ride. That's what I do over here. You know, once I get into my groove, I'm in my groove. So this is where I'm at. So I guess maybe this is what I want to talk about. I don't know. But then you find other things out about Michael Jackson, such as, you know, his, you know, ownership in, with Sony. Now, I knew about that, you know, him having it. Other people didn't, you know, like just regular smuggler people did not. And so I'm looking like, do you not know what Michael Jackson owns? Like, you really don't know, right? And so all of those things starts to come out, and I'm like, you know, this man has some publishing. Like, he has like, forget his catalog. He has catalogs, you know, of music. And so he goes, and we see him become this shrewd businessman, right? Now, the thing that I found just kind of intriguing about Michael Jackson myself would have been, I don't know what I was watching, was obviously a Michael Jackson's documentary. But I remember in this particular documentary, I think it was his manager, and they were actually looking at purchasing, you know, the property, you know, that had Neverland, that property. Was it in Encino? I don't know. I don't think it matters to me, you know. But anyway, that property. And he was like, I want to purchase this. How can I do that? And I guess the manager at the time said, well, we probably need to add 30 more dates to, you know, your tour or something like that, in order for us at the end of all this, for you to be able to afford, you know, this property, you know, to buy it and do what you're trying to do, you know. So you see him become that person. And as I said, larger than life. Now, I don't know why I'm thinking about this, because this is not where I'm going, but I'm going to go there. Larger than life, I can honestly say, for me, Michael Jackson would be the artist for me that I can say I watched become larger than life. Like the thing that I liked most about Michael Jackson was looking forward to his videos. You know, it was a thing. Like, and I'm here to tell you, I'm talking about on cable television. Like, you know, was there a time when he premiered a video? Was it black or white? Sorry about that. Was it black or white? It wasn't Remember the Time. I think it was black or white. What was the first? I can't think of it, but I guess where I'm going is that I don't know if it was on a channel between 2 and 13 or something like that, where, you know, you was actually like cable networks actually premiered the video. Like, and everybody was like, oh, Michael Jackson's video is going to be premiered. Like, we anticipated things like this in this man's era as he was coming up. You know, videos were a big deal back then. And Michael Jackson made videos a big deal. He did. As a matter of fact, we could not watch the Thriller video. We couldn't. We couldn't watch the Thriller video because my aunt, yes, I have an aunt who's younger than I am. And so we couldn't watch it because it scared her. So we was like, we can't watch Thriller. But not around her, we couldn't. You see what I'm saying? So my grandmother wouldn't come watch Thriller because it scared her. She just we couldn't watch it. But Thriller, the video, larger than life, and it was like every video became like etched in your mind. I was about to say another word or make another statement about it, but no. Like it was like, yes, we wanted it, we needed it. He made videos big for me, that I wanted to see them. And then it started out as a movie. So you see him do all of these things with his career, in his career, and he definitely is a trailblazer in that. I know we want to give it over to other people, but we definitely have to give, respect and due to Michael Jackson in that area. There's just no way around it. We cannot. I don't care what ethnicity you are, what culture you're from, so on and so forth. Michael Jackson definitely transcended race, when it came to his music. And then going into becoming this businessman, and then when you find out what he has acquired, you go like, whoa, he definitely made that possible. And he didn't really care, I mean, we all know about that Paul McCartney situation where, there he is, what is it? The girl is, no, not the girl is mine. Is it the girl is mine? No, not the girl is mine. I know it's say, but isn't there more than one song with Paul McCartney? But anyway, when he and Paul McCartney was, obviously recording music together, and then he goes and buys the Beatles catalog behind his back. Now, I could be fuzzy on the details, but from my understanding, like I said, sometimes I don't hit the bullseye, but I'm on the board. But I think from my understanding, the conversation was with Paul McCartney. He had about publishing, or he had a conversation with someone about publishing, letting them know, hey, this is how I make my money, so on and so forth, blah, blah, blah. Now, I'm not sure. I could be wrong on this too, but I'm on the board. And that is, I don't know if Paul McCartney was having some issues with his publishing as he was talking about it, and somehow or another Michael Jackson, we say went behind his back and bought the publishing, but I guess they had some kind of a friendship to the point where it was like, hey, you could have told me you was going to do this, but it is what it is. I mean, that is a major move to go and start to buy music publishing. You understand what I'm saying? Which, of course, I would say sustained Michael Jackson's career from a financial standpoint. I know we talk about Thriller in that album, right? And all of the things that he was able to accomplish with that album. But for the most part, it would be publishing that has kept his career in his family afloat. I would say this, and then I'll move on from that. I remember being in a barbershop at the time that he passed, around the time after he passed. And of course, he was having financial issues, according to tabloids. And I kept saying to people, I'm like, Michael Jackson isn't broke. You understand what I'm saying? Like, he's not broke. He's probably not where he should have been financially. And he had some struggles financially. Do you understand what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, Michael Jackson is not broke. He will never be broke because of what he owns. Do you understand what I'm saying? But he might be spending money like crazy. And I remember telling the guys, in the barbershop, I was like, okay, watch this. Everybody's trying to say Michael Jackson is having financial issues, so on and so forth. But I promise you, just mark my words, they're going to say he's a billionaire again. And there you go. And soon after that, you're like, oh no, he's no longer having financial issues. He in the past, oh no, he got his wealth back and so on and so forth. Really? Things that make you go, So it is what it is, but definitely a huge career, definitely a record-breaking career. definitely a competitor. I would like to say, oh, see, now we're going into a segue to another thing. And I want to talk about an album, but we're going to talk about this. Another thing that we were able to witness with Michael Jackson, as far as him being a competitor, he didn't mind competing with his siblings, right? And it was great to see. I'm not going to say had a oh rivalry is the word I want to use, but how to describe that rivalry, I'm trying to be mindful of, because I don't know if it was a serious rivalry between him and his sister Janet Jackson, but to see these two siblings, right? We see Michael Jackson hit a certain level in his career, and then Janet comes right behind him. See, y'all making me get my albums. They're making me get my albums. Oh, I have a Janet Jackson album over here. And to see him hit his a stage in his career, and to see them doing it back to back to back, and then to see Jermaine Jackson, the brother, go in, and I think the word that there was a song, an album or a song Jermaine put out called "Word to the Bad," and to see to see Jermaine Jackson try to get in and kind of compete with his brother as well, you're kind of like, okay, now you definitely are, but you're about to fall short, but he did good though, Jermaine Jackson. Oh yeah, we can't knock Jermaine Jackson. What is the name of that song? I can't think of it right now, but anyway, I like the song. It's a slow song, but to see those two go back and forth in that rivalry, and then to see both of them kind of go through what they went through. Michael Jackson with all of the allegations with him, and then with Janet Jackson with that Super Bowl fiasco. But to see their careers kind of dwindle, it fizzled. Uh, that was not good to watch. It was not good to watch. But now I would like to think that Janet Jackson and Michael Jackson would be like, oh, I'm trying to think of two brothers, well, or two sisters or siblings in sports. But I'm trying to think of two brothers right now. I just can't think of the top of my head, playing, maybe football or basketball or baseball in their major, in their sport. I don't know why Serena and Venus came to my mind, but that's not who I was trying to think of. But to see these two siblings, be in the same industry and to be at that level, definitely something to pay attention to. There's just so many layers to this man's career that I could go into to talk about. But I think the best place for me to start with, or to do this with, it would be that last album. The last album here, the Invincible album, would be that album that is worth listening to, is worth reviewing. And I say that because sometimes when you have reached a certain stage in your career and you are a trailblazer, you're someone who we're anxiously awaiting, for the next song, the next song. We're anxiously awaiting what the next video is going to be. And then after the album's life, because Michael Jackson's album would spend years on the charts. And then when he finally comes out with that new album, you're like, what is the next album going to sound like? When you get to a place in your career where you're able to do this, over and over and over and over again. And you are a trendsetter, right? You're a trendsetter. You're such a trendsetter to the point where no one is copying your style, and I don't think no one wants to copy your style. Do you see what I'm saying? Except for maybe Jermaine. Jermaine would probably try to copy. And when I say style, I'm talking about his dress, the wardrobe, right? Like there's no one I could think of in the top of my head. Well, I don't know why the Commodores came to my mind. The Commodores. Who is that guy? Is it Carmichael? But anyway, I haven't seen anyone dressed like Michael Jackson for the most part, right? So the things that we saw, Michael Jackson, his wardrobe, so on and so forth, no one is copying that, but I still would like to think that it's trendy. And he's a trendsetter. But you do that over and over and over again, have all of this controversy, and then you get to a place in your career where we get to this Invincible album. And I've never heard an entire Michael Jackson's album. I haven't. Why would I hear an entire Michael Jackson's album? Why would I say that? Because when you have an album like this, the greatest hits, history, volume 1, all the hits are here for the most part. Right? Like, yes, people went out and they purchased these albums by Michael Jackson, and they were good albums, but I've never owned an entire Michael Jackson album. And it wasn't that I wasn't interested in it. I just was like, the songs I'm hearing on the radio are good enough for me, right? And then sometimes when you get to, when you finally do purchase an album, right, his marketing was so good. The record companies, I guess, believe in the material on the album. They believed in it enough where by the time you did purchase an entire album by Michael Jackson, you realize that all of the hits were released. So you heard the album already. There's no need to buy it. But of course, at that age, I was not buying music. I just wasn't buying music. Oh, okay, it is what it is. What time? I don't know my time. What's my time? What's my time? What's my time? Where is my time? I don't know my time. What is my time? Okay, I see my time. All right, so we're at the 30-minute mark, right? And so I think this is a good place to talk about this album, okay? The album I want to review is Invincible. Long introduction, but I guess it's just what it is. I had to go with the flow, and if I'm going to have an hour video with Michael Jackson, then that's what I'm going to do. All right, let's get right down to it. So I'm covering the Invincible album. Let's do that, shall we? The Invincible album is the 10th and final studio album by Michael Jackson. It was released October the 30th, 2001 by Epic Records. It was Jackson's last album before his passing in 2009. It shares appearances from, who are some of the people that appeared on it? Glad you asked. Carlos Santana, the Notorious B.I.G. Yes, he was on the album. The album was recorded from 1997 to 2001. So to 1997, if it started then, of course, the Notorious B.I.G. would be on that album or on a song with Michael Jackson because of the time, 1997. And Slash, it incorporates R&B, pop, and soul. And similarly to Jackson's previous material, the album explores themes such as love, romance, isolation, media criticism, and social issues. Invincible sold anywhere between 8 to 10 million albums worldwide. The album's creation was expensive and definitely laborious. It featured the work of 10 producers and over 100 musicians. Now, it also had a record-breaking budget of $30 million. We're talking about from 1997 to 2001. Now, I don't know at the time, and if you have followed me enough, you know Hey, I cover music from 1980 all the way up to 1997. It's interesting that Michael Jackson, still at this moment in time in his career, would want to have a budget for an album of $30 million, okay, to record this album. It's also interesting to see that the record companies was willing to put that much money behind his album or anyone's album. I know it's Michael Jackson, but the reason why I'm saying that is because there's definitely a shift in music in 1997. I stopped listening to music over the radio in 1997. As a matter of fact, I think I purchased, as I said before, 3 albums in 1997. It would be Patti LaBelle's Flame, In Vogue's EV3, and the Isleys Brothers' Mission to Please in 1997. I was done with music because these artists that I just showed you and other artists just like them, I saw the music industry moving away from promoting these artists. And it would be Michael Jackson would be in that category because now they're getting out with the old and with the new. So I find it very hard to believe, even with someone's caliber, such as Michael Jackson, to get a $30 million budget for an album. It's definitely just things to make you go, So I can see that there will be a struggle probably from a financial standpoint between Michael Jackson and Tommy Mottola, if that's what this was about. Because again, Tommy Mottola and Michael Jackson clashed with this album from reports. Basically, Michael Jackson felt like the album wasn't being promoted. Sony was not promoting the album, and Tommy Mottola being the CEO of Sony Records at the time. So there were definitely a lot of back and forth from Michael Jackson and Tommy Mottola. Michael Jackson more so in the media. I can't recall anything that Tommy Mottola said or even responded to for that part. I can't recall there being anything Tommy Mottola responded to in the media, but there was a lot going on at the time. So Michael Jackson decided he was not even going to tour the album, which when you think about it, you go like, which one? Just things to make you go, behind all of that. But when it sells between $8 to $10 million, you do the math. Did they get their $30 million back is all I'm saying. All right, at the end of the day. So did the album, even at the point of it being released, was it a financial flop? Probably not. Probably not. But record companies are not looking at, this album sold between 8 to 10 million albums. They're looking at, which is great. Oh gosh, it's great worldwide. But yeah, okay. Well, that was good, but coming from someone who we know we could have got 30 million records out of, it was a disappointment. But what I am discovering, and I guess I'm not going to talk too much about the actual album like single by single. We'll just let it flow this way, since this is kind of like where I think we're going with this this particular commentary. I said this way: $30 million being a lot in 1997 to record an album. But then looking at the Notorious B.I.G., looking at Slash, Carlos Santana, then looking at you have 10 producers on the album, it almost makes you go, and then the producers that you are choosing to be on the album. And I do believe Rodney Jerkins showed up a lot on this album. Did he not? And we're going to talk about that. Rodney Jerkins. Yeah, he showed up quite a bit on the album, Rodney Jerkins. So him choosing these producers, I have to say, were they great producers? Yes. I mean, you have Rodney Jerkins, who's definitely the it guy at the time. Some other producers on the album, Teddy Riley, Teddy Riley being a part of the Dangerous album, so on and so forth. So you would definitely think that he would have, some say so. He worked with Andre Harris, and of course, Andre Harris from working with, I think it's like Jill Scott in Floetry. Definitely. So it looks like he's definitely on point with choosing these producers, as well as Babyface shows up on the album as well. But I guess the thing about it is that these producers obviously were expensive. The production side of everything obviously was expensive. And then going into the studios, choosing the singers and so on and so forth was probably a task in it and of itself. And then as well as Michael Jackson and what he wanted, as a producer as well. I'm not going to say that Michael Jackson, we lost interest in Michael Jackson because of all of the scandals and everything is concerned, because we, the fans, right, and the media, we kind of weathered that storm with him throughout his career, I would like to think. But it definitely was impacting Michael Jackson's career at the time. And as I said, in 1997, there's a shift in the music industry. And so you have to take those things under consideration. But another thing you have to take under consideration too is that how long would someone like a Michael Jackson last as far as all of these albums are concerned? Meaning, like, when will we become disinterested? Like, and he's choosing, oh gosh, I'm trying to be mindful with my wording. He's choosing producers who are known for producing and excelling in a style of production, a style of writing, a style of producing that could possibly be a hit or a miss when it comes to Michael Jackson, right? Now we know Rod Temperton, Quincy Jones has great success with Michael Jackson. Then, of course, you have Michael Jackson himself, who started producing his music as well. So you know that Michael Jackson is a genius in and of itself. But when you choose someone like a Rodney Jerkins, okay, I guess I'm finally saying it. But when you choose someone like a Rodney Jerkins to produce you, and his style of producing is working for a new genre of artists. It's fresh, it's new, it's working. But could this work for Michael Jackson? Now, the thing about Rodney Jerkins' production style that I just do not care too much for, but it's not a diss to him, I'm going somewhere, is that it's like choppy, it's segmented, it's fragmented. It's like I don't even want to try to make the sound, but it's like it's not even, like it doesn't flow. Oh, how can I make it? It's what it is. It's choppy. It's fragmented. It's segmented. It has what I call gaps, spaces in the production, and you're trying to say this. What you doing again, Rodney? What you doing again? Okay, so for you guys out there, and you're probably trying to get an idea of what I'm saying, and I know you are familiar with Rodney Jerkins, some of you guys out there, his style of producing, then think about Missy Elliott. Think about, does Missy Elliott's style of producing and writing work for Michael Jackson? And for us older heads, right, the people who are not 80s babies, but we lived throughout the 80s, we can go, like, think about Bernadette Cooper and what she was able to produce for Climax. Do you see that sound? Does that sound really work for Michael Jackson? Well, I never liked that style of production from Rodney Jerkins. And when I think it was, yeah, Dark Child. That's it. Thank you. So he would start his albums out, basically, the artist would shout out the production name of the production company, Dark Child. Nothing is wrong with that. But even when he worked with Whitney Houston, I sat back like, okay. Okay, I like it. It's all right. Then you start to differentiate between Whitney Houston singing it, and you're probably like, But then if you hear one of the new divas out sing it, you're like, oh, no, I like that. So you like it when another diva does it. But when one of these icons, someone who's already established, and and you're familiar with that sound, right? With that artist's sound, and then they come in with this new wave of production, and you're like, something about it disconnects in my head and in my ears, is what it is. And so I would like to think that even Michael Jackson kind of understand what I'm saying, right? What do I mean by that? Because what works for this album, the reason why I can dig this album and I listen to the album in its entirety for the first time, the production is smoothed out. And I would like to think that it's because Michael Jackson's involvement in it. Like I guess he probably said, no, I don't need it to sound like that. Like, I like what's happening, but can we just smooth it out and not let it be so fragmented in all of these gaps? It's like a sound here, a sound here, a sound here, a sound here, a sound here. And let's just have the music flow. So if that's how you're going to do it, that's fine. But let's tone it down a little bit and smooth the track out, put something put that part way, way back there and bring this up a little bit. You see what I'm saying? So it works for Michael Jackson, right? Now, the album overall in general for me, this Invincible album, yeah. 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 I probably would have liked it if it was another artist that had recorded this album. Invincible is not a bad album. I love You Rock My World. When I heard You Rock My World in that end part of it, is it the guitar? But whatever that end part is, like, I love, oh my gosh, like I could just take that part of the song, when he is basically vamping it out with You Rock My World, and he's saying it over and over again. Like, that part of that track is brilliant. I mean, it is so brilliant. I rewind that again. That's genius. Rewind that again. Like that. I mean, it's perfect. That part of it was perfect. It is perfect. Probably the best track that was on the album for me. And I still love the song. Like, You Rock My World, it's such a great song. But another thing too, though, I like about this album, Michael Jackson is definitely top-notch vocally. He does not disappoint vocally at all. Like, this man, like, I don't know. We talk about the dancing, we talk about the videos, we talk about everything else, but no one ever says anything about Michael Jackson vocally. I don't. We never hear anybody talk about that. We say, oh, he's the king of pop. He's the king of this. He's this, that, and the other. But we never talk about this man's vocals. Like, he is like one of the best singers of all times. He definitely is. I know we want to talk about I love my R&B divas, and I love them up there in the rafters. I do. And we talk about other R&B male singers, who we know can definitely blow as well. But I'm here to tell you, I don't know of any male singer right now who I can honestly say could stand toe to toe with Michael Jackson vocally. I just don't. I think you would be really like you are setting yourself up for failure. You're setting yourself up to look real bad if you think you're about to challenge Michael Jackson vocally. Just not going to do it. Now, from my understanding when it comes to Michael Jackson vocally, I believe that's the reason why he talked in such a high-pitched voice. The reason behind that is that he wanted to be able to, maintain his vocal ability. So it was suggested that he talked that way. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, I recall, and like I said, sometimes I'm not on hit the bullseye, but I'm on the board. I know I'm on the board with this. Patti LaBelle's singing style changed once she got up into the 80s, the 1980s. Her vocal style changed. I recall it being suggested to Patti that she would probably get a different sound, a vocal sound, if she smiled more. So I know you guys are probably looking at Patti LaBelle, and when she's doing the mouth movements and so on and so forth, that's intentional from my understanding. You understand? It's intentional for her because it's getting a different sound out of her than she would have done in the past. If you see Patti LaBelle in the past, she's not singing that way, with her mouth, right? So just a little tidbit there. So again, Michael Jackson is definitely top-notch vocal. Like, that's another thing that saved this album to me. Like, vocally, this man is on point. The production is on point. But unfortunately, the lyrics and the production is not matching up for me. As I said before, this album covered, themes such as love. He definitely talked about what was the themes? A theme of love. He had a theme of medium. He talked about that, and other themes on the album. Like racism, so on and so forth. And so, yeah, it didn't match. He still stayed true to himself, Michael Jackson. He did stay true to himself, but I think at this moment in time, some things kind of got lost in the way. Definitely could have been a better album, I think, overall in general. Not my favorite Michael Jackson album at all. Like it has its moments that you go like, wow. But for the most part, this could have ended better. This album, this situation, but there was a whole lot of things going on, as I said previously, between the record company and him that really kept this album like not getting the steam, the full momentum that it deserved. Because I'm here to tell you, when You Rock My World came out, everybody was definitely feeling Michael Jackson with that song. We all were, but it lost its shine. Yeah. The video was great. I like the video for You Rock My World. But it's kind of like I was no longer impressed at the same time. I wasn't impressed because I looked at this video. I was like, okay, what is this? Smooth Criminal? The Way You Make Me Feel? A combination of both? Like, are you going to do that again? So it's kind of like, are you losing, your creative juices? Are you really thinking outside of the box? And maybe for him at the time, maybe he thought that he was. And, it's definitely, worth listening to. The album is definitely worth listening to. It is. Well, if you made it to this point in my commentary, then I want to personally say thank you. I also want to say, hey, I think it's appropriate for me to go ahead and ask you to hit that subscribe button, the like button, leave comments, share it, all of that stuff that, people, would ask you to do. Not only that, I want to share with you my motto, and my motto is simple. Put your behind where your heart desires to be. And whenever I leave my mother's presence, she always says to me, she says, baby, remember, I love you, but God loves you best. I look forward to seeing you next video. And until then, you should know what to do by now. Take care of yourself. All right.